Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to start off with some more planting up here in our entryway flower bed. We are going to tackle both the planting of the hydrangeas and the planting of the boxwoods that we currently have. We do have more boxwoods on their way, so I think we're going to only get one side maybe done or partially done. But this is where we're at right here. We just recently got all of the arborvitaes planted and we've been enjoying them so much, you guys. And you can see that I put the boxwoods here on both sides just so I could see what it looked like. Oh, are you gonna make a run for it? You're making me nervous, bud. Oh, you gotta go the long way now, dude. Anyway, I just popped these boxwoods over here on this side so that we could see what it looked like, to see if we liked the placement of those. And having them to the left or to the right of the pillars so they're not right in front of it, I think is really nice. But what we'll do today is we'll grab these boxwoods and we will finish up as far as we can over here. We have to decide, there's Aaron, he's gonna help with the holes. We have to decide where the walkway is gonna go, because you guys, we're gonna do boxwoods from, you know, the pillar and then go to where a little walkway will lead up to our little mail house, and then we'll pick back up with boxwoods on the other side of it and continue on.
I'm gonna go right here.
Right there? I wish you were mic'd up so they could hear you singing as you walk the pathway.
It's gonna be a little, and then
right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should err on it being wider than more narrow.
Yes.
Like having maybe one more boxwood here and then having, you know, the walkway be
have it
fairly decent sized.
have it kind of like open.
Yeah, like a welcome opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. That way, you know, if somebody's got a dolly or whatever, I don't know what the case may be.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna have anybody deliver anything wider than the door.
True, but you don't want people to feel like it's a skinny little thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can see the mail house, we've got half a roof. Look at those shakes, they're so pretty. The reason why we are stalled is because we had to custom order the door and the windows. We wanted them to match the door and windows on the flower shed. And they don't have, like they have the panes. What are they called? The bars on the window. Like
frames?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You know, the things that go through the glass that make it look really charming. I don't know what those are called. Anyway, I didn't want them inset on the glass. I wanted them to be real wood, and I wanted the things, the bars, whatever, to be outside the glass, if that makes sense. So those are more of a custom sort of job. And I don't know how many weeks we have left for that, Aaron. Maybe like 3 weeks? Maybe,
I'm not sure.
Maybe like 3 or 4 weeks until they get here. Anyway, it should be finished up sometime this fall. But we're certain about boxwood placement. We're certain about hydrangea placement. Of course, we're not going to use a grass up here. We'd like to put something architectural, a very small architectural tree or something like that. I was just using the grasses as a placeholder, so we'll probably pop those back by the high tunnel today so that we don't have to continue watering them up here. Ah! You made it this time. Good job. You did it. Are you wanting to do a boxwood lined path? Oh, I didn't even think about that. So you want to go curve in with the boxwoods here and then have another one of them curve up to the house?
Yeah, but they need to come out. They'll need to be out here so that it doesn't, you can see the whole house.
Yeah. What do you think though, Aaron, about us maybe just doing the perimeter for today so that we leave it open for the guys to side and stuff? And we can do the boxwood line walk.
I just wanted to set
Oh, sure. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Which in that case, we might need one more hydrangea up here, possibly, if we're going to fill this whole thing up with hydrangeas. I don't know, guys. We're just going to play around with this a little bit and then just start planting. So these are the firelight hydrangeas. They grow 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. I think they're zone 3 through 8. Let's see. I feel like I've talked about firelight so much recently. Yeah, zone 3 through 8. They bloom on new wood. They start out a spectacular white and then they fade to this kind of lightish pink, and they're starting to color up for fall where they will get really vivid, like a very vivid pink. And then these here are the new gen boxwoods that are coming out this next, well, they've been out, but they're entering the Proven Winners line this next year. And they grow about 3 by 3 and they look so perfect and beautiful that they almost look fake to me, and I just love them. They are so gorgeous. And we intend on keeping them a fairly small hedge here. Anyway, those are the stats of the plants, so now we can get after it. Okay, I just spent a little bit of time measuring the hydrangeas and the grasses. So the grasses on either side measure exactly the same distance from where they're sitting to the corner of the pillar and the same distance from the grass to the lane. So those are solid, and because we're not going to use them, Erin brought up a couple of stakes. We're going to stake right where these are.
I know.
Now hold it. Ooh. These have sliver written all over them. Probably good. There. Now we won't have a question as to where to place our tree once we find what we want. Okay, these go in the back of my gator now. I have not measured the boxwoods yet, but it really won't be as necessary to get it super precise until we get to the second side. That's when you really want to match what you've done on the first side. So today with these boxwoods, I think I'm going to just kind of eyeball where they're at and how we like them. And then we'll mimic that later on once we get the other boxwoods in. I need to go get more biotone, I think. All right, guys, quick update. We got all the hydrangeas in the ground and planted, and then we went and took a lunch break. So I'm feeling re-energized. Erin's going to come back out here to help with these holes. The soil over here in some of the spots is so incredibly hard. So hard, in fact, that Erin was like, I don't know how we're going to get these holes dug. So he went and grabbed the tractor to dig let's see, how many did we plant? 2, 4, 6, 7 out of the 8 hydrangeas on this side he was able to use the tractor for. For those of you who saw the video when we planted these arborvitaes back here, the one right next to the pillar, and then really the one next to it was a little easier, but the one right there was so incredibly hard, and so were all of these. Like even the tractor with the auger, you could hear it kind of bogging down when it was trying to dig these holes. The back ones were no problem. And then this one, Aaron hand dug, because we have electrical. If you see that fake rock back there, electrical runs through here. So anything around that, we have to make sure to hand dig. But I did take my time when planting these. We got all of these planted. I really liked how they looked. We ended up bringing an extra one out for both sides. So then when it came time to do the next side, I would come over here and I would measure from the middle of the plant to the brick pillar and then the middle of the plant to the edge of the driveway. And then I'd walk over here and do the exact same thing so that every hydrangea was pretty darn close to exactly placed on either side. I mean, they might be off by a ½ inch or an inch or something like that, but nothing major. We actually thought about the possibility of carrying on with the firelights because, you know, we'll have the boxwoods coming straight to the end of the property here. It would be gorgeous to have this whole thing just loaded with hydrangeas, and it would be incredibly, incredibly low maintenance, which is the beauty of all of these plants. Like we chose these plants on purpose because they don't have to be deadheaded. In fact, you don't even have to clean up the blooms. You can leave them for winter and they're really pretty winter interest. The evergreens, the arborvitaes, the boxwoods will be beautiful all year round and they'll provide the structure and the weight. And then we can add some things in, like I might add some bulbs in here this fall. So we've got some spring color and so on. I mean, you could do all kinds of different things in an area like this. I think somebody suggested doing roses, and there are specific certain types of landscape shrub roses that would be pretty and full of color, but I just find that they're a lot messier. You know, they drop petals all over the ground. I feel the need to deadhead them, even though they don't need to be deadheaded in order to keep blooming, but I think they look better if you do deadhead them, but not with these. These don't drop anything on the ground and they don't require much. I love that. Okay, now we're going to continue on with phase 2, which is getting the rest of these boxwoods in the ground. So I am going to work on spacing these out. And I also did see a comment about the boxwoods and plowing snow and whether or not that would be an issue. We have our driveway up here lined with boxwoods and I've never had it be an issue. But I'm always thankful when I read comments like that because sometimes it's not something I've thought about at all, or it's something I forgot to mention and kind of talk through. And it just makes me pause for a moment and really think through the project and is this the best thing to do and so on and so forth. It's only going to be this small area and we can be a little bit more careful. Plus we've not had a problem on that other side, so we're hoping that it's not a problem up here. Okay, so let's get all of these boxwoods in the ground. Just working on the spacing of these first. This is kind of the most important part. I need to make sure that they kind of flank this, and then I need to come off of them in such a way that it looks right. Fortunately, it's a pretty narrow base down here, so we can plant pretty close, I think. So if we go I spaced them out about this far from one another. I don't know what that is, about 14, 15 inches or so. Just cut a branch off of the dogwood tree and found a length that worked. I'm going to save this stick so I've got it for the other side. boxwoods are in and they look so good. Look at how gorgeous this whole space is. And those boxwoods just frame everything in beautifully. So the pathway to the mail house is probably going to be a high priority. We'll want that done before winter so that we don't have a muddy pathway. And that'll add some structure too, some really nice structure. And we'll have it look just like the ones kind of around the dream stream, the gray stone with the sand in between. And then we'll either go in with boxwoods or maybe like a little rosa lavender or something like that, you know, something that still has a lot of color during the summer that isn't a tremendous amount of maintenance. And then once we get the rest of our boxwoods, we will continue on with the hedge all the way to this side gate. And then of course we will finish up over here as well. Paul's already run drip to these hydrangeas. I'll show you what it looks like. So for most things, we only have to run one row of drip, but for hydrangeas and arborvitaes in particular, we do run one row on either side of them. So you can see we just kind of did a ring around the whole area and then came in and did a secondary ring on the inside. Same with the arborvitaes. And then as they mature, we usually can pull one of the rows out. Probably not for the hydrangeas, but maybe for the arbs. And then our stakes are indicating where our trees, our small trees, or whatever it is that we decide to put in here, that's where those will go. I am just loving it. Love seeing this. And I'm so happy we decided to go in with the boxwoods right here. I think that was a really good thing to do, and I'm glad that we put them out this far instead of putting them in. That was the initial thought, was to kind of create beds on the inside, but they were just too small. We needed to think a little bit bigger out here. So I'm really happy with this. I see one boxwood that looks kind of off though. Not that it's going to matter much. This one looks like it's bumped in a little bit. I don't think it's off enough to matter too much. We'll probably keep this hedge, maybe twice as wide as it is now, and not much taller. And here's a look back down this way from the other side, from the gate side. All right, guys, so now that this project's done, I think I'm going to go do a little bit of deadheading, and then we're going to call it for the day. Out in the opposite end of the south garden, we've got the 4 Lady Gardener roses that we moved from near the chicken coop, I think a couple of years ago now, and they need to be deadheaded. So most of the blooms look like this, spent, looking just tired. There are a few nice ones though, really pretty color. Look in here. You can see how beautiful and delicate that color is. Just love them. But it'll look a lot better once we get it deadheaded. So what I do is come in where there's a spent bloom. You can see all 4 of these blooms come off of the same like larger stem down below, but I don't really want to cut it too low into the canopy of the plant. I sort of want to keep this plant in a nice shape. So what I do is follow each individual branch down to the first set of 5 leaves, or right around the first set of 5 leaves. You want to make sure it is pointed, the leaves are pointed in the direction that you want the next branch to grow. So you don't want to choose a set like this set right here that's heading into the center of the plant. That means that the new branch that comes out will be competing with everything else. So I'm just going to cut right above this set of 5 leaves like this. Doesn't need to be angled or anything like that. But our new branch will come out right here between the leaf and the stem. So next one, we've got a set of 3. So I'm going to take this one down a little bit further right here. This one and this one. There we go. So all of them have been cut above sets of 5 leaves. It looks nice in line with the rest of the shrub. So I'm just going to carry on doing that throughout. And this Safari Desk James Britannia right below, what a stellar performer. It's just been in beautiful color all season. And I think it's actually getting a little too much water right here. That's why the leaves are just a little bit yellow. It's a stunner. And there they are, all done, looking so much better. Oh my goodness. In the same area, we planted a chase tree earlier on this season, which it's done really well. It's gotten quite a lot bigger, like whiter, and it has been blooming on and off throughout the whole season. You can see that it's loaded up right now, just absolutely loaded with blooms about ready to open. And we've also got this area. I have not decided what I want to do out here on the edge of the lane, but I did get my hands on some Invincible Sublime hydrangeas, so I can work on continuing to fill up this area. I have one I need to replace in there, and then I want to add at least 1, 2, maybe 3 more on this end so that this whole area is all Sublime hydrangeas. And of course, right across the pathway here, we've got the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum, just absolutely loving its life. It's doing so well. Look at that, my goodness. And you guys, that is gonna do it for today's video. What a great day. So much planting got done. And that kind of planting is the type that I kind of, well, you guys know, I put it off. When it needs to be precise or needs to appear precise, I just tend to procrastinate on those types of projects because I'm always so afraid I'm gonna get it wrong and I'm gonna have to dig plants up and move them around. And not that I'm adverse to doing that. I do that all the time. But in this case, I just really wanted it to be done nice and done once instead of multiple times. And I think we're getting there. I'm really happy we decided to do it kind of in shifts. That way you're just taking off, you know, or biting off a little bit at a time. So the last things up there we'll need to do is the finishing up of the boxwoods, which we will do here shortly, and the pathway. And if that is all other than just getting the mail house all buttoned up by winter time, I think that's gonna be great. And then of course, it's always nice to come out here and just get a little bit of fussy stuff done. Just deadheading a little bit. That's just the best way to end really any day, in my opinion. Just kind of puttering around and doing little things that are not super labor intensive, but they're satisfying. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.